Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I am Crystal, and this lady over here, I never know which way to point, is my business partner, Kelly. And this entire series is called Fix Your Procrastination, the blogging edition. And we've all struggled with procrastination at one point or another. The whole goal of this series is helping bloggers understand that procrastination usually has a root cause. Most people assume that they're lazy or they're unmotivated or they lack discipline. But in reality, there usually is a specific reason that your brain is resisting action. Okay. And once you identify the real reason that you're stuck, you can usually apply the correct fix and finally start moving forward again.
So today we want to talk about a version of procrastination that we see constantly with bloggers and content creators. This is the procrastination that happens when you're trying to grow too many things at the same time. You're trying to grow your blog and your Pinterest and your Instagram and your Facebook and your YouTube and your email list and your Etsy and your Teachers Pay Teachers and your Amazon and your Commission Junction and your SEO and AI and all the things. And eventually your brain starts to feel like you're behind everywhere all at once, or it starts feeling like, Chrome when you have 500 active tabs and it just starts getting sluggish and weird. Same thing.
Okay, so let's start with the symptom because that is what most bloggers feel first. And that is you constantly feel behind. You feel behind on content. You feel behind on social media. You feel behind on your email. You feel behind on product creation. You feel behind on SEO updates. What's even going on there? You feel behind on trends. You feel behind on technology. And no matter how much you work, you still feel like you are losing ground.
And what's interesting is that a lot of bloggers are actually working very hard when this is happening. And it's not a problem of not caring. It's not a lack of ambition. It's not a laziness. It's putting your time somewhere else. Most of the time, it's just that you're consuming too much information. So it's constant information. So you're constantly trying strategies. You're constantly making plans. You're constantly analyzing the data and starting a new project and researching the idea. So because your energy is split in so many directions, you never really stay focused on one thing long enough to create that meaningful momentum.
Right. And eventually the brain starts experiencing what we call a freeze response. Because when there are too many priorities competing for your attention at the same time, your brain starts struggling to decide what actually matters the most right now. And then unclear priorities almost always create procrastination.
Right. So here's the important part. The real problem is not that you're behind. The real problem, I'm shaking my desk. It's making my monitor and camera shake. Sorry about that. I'm doing my hands like this. The real problem is scattered focus.
This is one of the biggest mindset shifts that bloggers need to understand because movement and progress are not always the same thing. And I've said for years, being busy doesn't mean you're being productive. Right. You can spend an entire day working and still not create meaningful progress or meaningful growth in your business if your attention keeps bouncing between unrelated priorities because being busy isn't being productive.
And blogging, I think that blogging makes this especially hard because there are so many opportunities online right now. There are endless platforms, endless strategies, endless opinions about what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. So bloggers start stacking their priorities instead of choosing a priority. They think, I'll grow YouTube while launching products and also just find 10 minutes a day for my Pinterest and fix my SEO. And I can still do daily reels and create an email funnel. And eventually the brain starts short circuiting because it just can't. It can't deeply execute 15 growth strategies simultaneously.
Yep. And the result is that you feel busy all the time, but you rarely feel momentum and you rarely see momentum. That's a huge clue that scattered attention may be the real underlying issue to the procrastination.
And it also causes burnout.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the fix, because There is a fix. That's the good news. Things can start feeling much lighter. The fix for this version of your procrastination, and stick around for the playlist because we're tackling all the different types or all the different versions of procrastination and the fix necessary. And sometimes you may find that your version is different depending on the day. Okay? So, the fix for this version of procrastination is narrowing your focus. Not forever, not for the next 10 years, but for a season of time.
Yep. So, one of the healthiest things that a blogger can do is choosing one primary growth focus and allow that focus to compound. Kelly and I have been doing that for years. And y'all have watched us and you've watched us be successful at that. Maybe your focus is traffic. That means that your energy goes into publishing consistent searchable content and improving your discoverability and building content systems. Maybe your focus is email growth. That was my focus, I think, 2021, right? That means instead of trying to dominate every platform, you're focusing on audience connection and opt-ins and consistent communication, which is what we did for a whole year. Maybe your focus is products or monetization, and that means your energy goes into creating and refining offers instead of constantly chasing new traffic strategies every single week. Okay.
And what's important is that you choose a primary focus. Okay, you stop when you do that. This is important. Write this down. Once you choose that primary focus, you stop treating every other opportunity like it's an emergency. Because that's where the overwhelm comes from. Your brain is trying to carry everything simultaneously instead of understanding that businesses grow often in seasons. Right. Everything grows in a season.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not always and forever. And right. You might even find that, I'm thinking about email. I might need to revisit that next year. Because it's not doing as well as it used to do. And I need to pivot and change things and really put a big focus on it again, potentially.
Yep. This is where procrastination usually starts decreasing because clarity reduces mental resistance. So when your brain knows this is the main thing that we're building right now, this is what we're focused on, decision-making becomes easier. So for example, I'm working on Facebook. I'm actually working on Facebook bonus money. Okay. Kelly is working on Etsy. Every single time that she or one of our top VIP people share the amazing things that are happening for them inside of Etsy and how, it sounds so fun. And I'm like, man, I want to do that. Man, I want to do that. I can't.
Every time I get paid from your Facebook page, I get really excited. I'm like, maybe I should do that.
Yeah, Facebook is set up wrong and Kelly gets my payments. So that's supposed to give it back to me. So you stop waking up every morning trying to reinvent your priorities from scratch, right? Because I have to put the brakes on what sounds so fun that she's doing. And I'm like, man, I could do that. Yes, we know. And she could do Facebook, but we have to focus on what we're doing, right? And get it to I want to make $10,000 a month off of Facebook bonus money. When it's there, then I'll move on.
Right. When it's there, when that goal is there, then you write down your processes, you plan, this is what it is, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what to look at if I need to pivot. I know every little in and out and all of it. And I've reached the point that I want to reach. Do I want to keep growing? Yes. But this is the point. And so you know what? Now I can hire you 3 people to handle it for me and get it to the next point.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Right. And honestly, some of the fastest business growth happens when people simplify. Because focused effort compounds your effort.
Mm-hmm.
When you stay with one strategy long enough, you gather data, you improve faster, you create systems, you build momentum. I always take it and I always compare it to weight loss. Keto works. Atkins works. Weight Watchers works. Right? They all work. But only if you stick with it. Only if you don't switch to, I've been doing keto for a little bit, so I'm going to switch to this other thing. I'm going to switch to this. I'm going to switch to that. When you constantly switch directions, your progress keeps resetting. It's the same thing, no matter how you look at it. Crystal?
Yeah, I mean, this just reminds me, you said in part of what you said a second ago, you said that we have to make things simpler, right? This is business growth usually happens when people simplify. And it just reminds me of how often in scripture it's the discussion of pruning is talked about, right? And I think that
Mm.
that's where we're at right now. That is what 2025 did for our businesses. Everyone had to prune. We were forced into a pruning process, right? Because it's just like if you see somebody who has certain farmland, you'll notice that they burn it down once a year. There's a reason that you do that. When you have a garden area and it's overrun by weeds, that starts to choke everything out. You have to prune. You have to prune, right? That's always,
Right.
and that's really,
Without winter, we wouldn't have spring. And without spring, we wouldn't have the bounty of summer.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I don't know, this is just kind of something that when you said that, it just kind of hit me like, wow, that's actually what's been happening for the last year and a half is forced pruning, right? And so now we're getting our businesses back down to the simpler place, right? And now you really need to figure out where you're going to focus. Okay? So
Right.
this is why so many bloggers feel behind even when they're constantly working. They're carrying too many active priorities at the same time for deep progress to happen anywhere. So you've pruned, okay? You've been forced into pruning. Now what are you going to focus on to grow? You've got the weeds out, right? Are we growing this garden or this flower bed? Are we growing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we focusing on? Okay?
Yeah.
Think about it.
If you only have an hour to work and you have 6 priorities, you get to spend 10 minutes on each priority. Is that really going to make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to do 10 jumping jacks today because that's all the time you have time for.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to what? Defrost 1 chicken breast? Like fold 6 socks? Like, right? You'll never tackle the laundry. But if you spend 60 minutes doing the laundry, what's going to happen?
Right.
You're going to make progress. Right?
Right.
Okay. So here's something practical that we want you to do this week. I want you, Crystal and I want you to write down every major thing that you are currently trying to grow or improve in your business. Everything. Every platform that you're working, every strategy, every project. I want you to put it all down on paper. Well, I am growing my Etsy and my Teachers Pay Teachers, and I have a Facebook group that I'm trying to monetize, and I'm learning YouTube. Write it all down. Write it all down.
Yep. Then ask yourself this question. If I could make one major progress in one area over the next 90 days, we're really focused on 90 days lately, which area would create the biggest impact in your business? Not the most exciting thing, not the newest thing, not the sparkly thing. I'm really bad at sparkly, shiny things. Not the thing that everyone else is talking about. So just because Kelly's doing Etsy doesn't mean that you need to do Etsy. And just because I'm working on Facebook bonus money doesn't mean you need to work on that. This is the thing that would create the biggest momentum for you and your business. That's important.
And once you identify that focus, I want you to sit down with yourself and give yourself permission to temporarily deprioritize all of the other noise. You're not abandoning it forever. You're not even stopping it. There's a difference in doing something for growth and doing it for maintenance. Okay. So you don't want to lose any progress that you've created everywhere else. You're still going to do your maintenance work or have somebody do your maintenance work. But all your project time, all your main focus, all your uninterrupted work time will be on this because we've deprioritized all of the other things. Our education time, we don't need any of that. We just need to spend our time on this. We're not abandoning the other things forever. We're just going to stop mentally carrying them every single day, because a focused business grows much faster than a scattered one.
Yep. So if you've been feeling constantly behind lately, we really want you to hear this. You may not actually be behind. You may simply be trying to carry too many priorities at one time. And that's what I'm willing to bet is happening.
And the fix is not going to be to add more work.
Mm-hmm.
It's to reduce the number of active priorities competing for your attention, so that your brain can finally focus deeply enough to create momentum.
Right, because clarity creates focus, and focus creates consistency. And consistency is usually what finally starts to create that growth that you have been looking for. Okay? You need clarity that's going to give you focus, that's going to give you consistency, that's going to give you growth. All right? All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. You're going to love this playlist. It's full. It's going to be full of a lot of great stuff. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.